Serves one to deep center.
We're going to fight last pitch, last out, no matter what.
Power against power.
Moments like these are made for stars like you.
Brisky, she's starting out on fire.
Strikes on strikes. And she strikes her out looking.
The championship is on the horizon.
Just watch me shine.
Nyjah Kennedy is not done yet.
The closer you come, the hotter it gets.
I was made to shine.
This is the Women's College World Series semifinals.
Welcome to the NCAA Women's College World Series presented by Capital One. Half of our championship finals field is complete, and that half features the defending champs, the Texas Longhorns. Swept a doubleheader with Tennessee today and are off to the champ finals for the third straight year and fourth in 5. Yet another Tegan Cavan shutout at the World Series. And now the Longhorns wait to see who will meet them. Alabama needing 1 win or Texas Tech needing 2. Welcome back to Oklahoma City. Thanks for being with us on this Monday night. Kevin Brown, 2-time All-American, Amanda Scarborough, Alyssa Lang will be with us shortly from the field. The Crimson Tide have won the first 2 games here as the top seed. Texas Tech has had to scratch and claw all postseason to get here. Now 2 teams that set on the verge of history.
Yeah, both of these teams have had totally different journeys to get to this point. Alabama has seemingly been easy breezy, and Texas Tech has been anything but. They've had extra inning games, been involved in walk-offs, and a tough super regional and a loss to be able to get right here to continue to fight for their season.
Yeah, Texas Tech hasn't played a 7-inning game yet at the World Series. Alabama's played a couple of 7-inning games, led by Jocelyn Brisky, an ace on this stage, and enough offense to support her.
Boy, has she elevated her game, Jocelyn Brisky. She has turned herself into one of the nation's best. SEC Pitcher of the Year this year and bringing it to the Women's College World Series, where she has thrown 2 complete games and only thrown 173 pitches. And Alabama's offense, they can step up when needed too. Alabama is 7-0 in the NCAA tournament, outscoring opponents 42-5 because Brisky and their defense have been shut down, and their offense has been able to score a very similar offense to back the 2012 title winners of Alabama when they won the national championship. 97 home runs, but an even better ERA this year in 2026.
Saw Kayla Bro, who is a star on that team, an assistant on this one. The only national title for Bama 14 years ago. Texas Tech, of course, has never won the title. They came 1 game away last year. They have revamped their roster. It's still built around Nyjah Kennedy, who is in the starting lineup today. Not the starting pitcher. I'm pretty sure we'll see her in the circle at some point.
We'll see how Texas Tech works their pitching staff. We know, and we think we know, that we will see Nyjah Kennedy at some point. We have seen her at the World Series the past 3 years. This year makes it for the 3-time All-American, the former National Player of the Year. Last year, the team was built around her in the circle. This year, they added offensive weapons, adding All-Americans who were named All-Americans this year. Jackie Liss, Mia Williams, and Caitlin Terry, who last night beat her former team to make it here to the semifinals. She was a force in the circle and at the plate, and her and Kennedy have been pitching in tandem.
Terry is listed as the starting pitcher today for a Tech team that had to scrape and scratch out runs any which way in the postseason last year. But this season, the 4th highest scoring team in the history of the sport. The best offense remaining, the best pitching staff remaining. Brisky trying to take the Tide near the mountaintop. Texas Tech looking to play and win too. First pitch next. time for the Alabama starting lineup, brought to you by Capital One. The Tide are the road team in this game, the #1 overall seed, 56-7 on the year. Marley Giles hit a 3-run home run Saturday off of Jordy Fromm. She's played at the World Series in 3 years, and she's homered in all 3 of those World Series. Crimson Tide 19-5 in the SEC. Again, the 56-7 record overall. And they will face Caitlin Terry, who threw 5 innings back and forth with Nyjah Kennedy in brilliant relief yesterday. And Amanda, she gets the ball to start. And we'll see how often Jerry Glasgow switches between Terry and Kennedy in the circle.
Yeah, she sure did look good last night against UCLA, her former team. She was bringing the heat and moving the ball all around.
Terry and Jenna Young, and away we go. Semifinal game number 3 tonight. After Texas and Tennessee played 2, the Longhorns came back out of the losers bracket to win both. And we start our nightcap with a 6:07 first pitch on a 95-degree night. And it's 2-0 from Terry to Jenna Young. Right out of the chute, Terry is faced with the challenge of doing something no one's done at the World Series. Get Jenna Young out. 5 for 5 for Young with a couple of walks. And Young takes a strike as called by Marty Abazishan, who was the plate umpire for last night's 9-inning Texas Tech Marathon win. 8-7 over UCLA. 7 trips, 7 times on base for the Iowa transfer Young, who pops one to the left side. And that streak is over. A foul out to Taylor Panel at third.
Caitlin Terry will move the ball up in the zone with her rise ball, 68 to 70 miles an hour there, and she will bring in her curve and her screw. Her screwball worked very well to the UCLA righties last night. She had 7 strikeouts and all of her appearances coming in and out with Nyjah Kennedy trading turns in the circle, but she looked good. It was really sharp. A lot like that is what she looked like last night. 68 to 70, even touched 72 miles an hour last night against UCLA.
Facing Brooke Wells, the second-team All-American with 24 home runs. A little bit too tall. Jazzy Burns, a catcher, working with Terry to start the game. Wells, 2 off the Alabama single-season home run record. Had the game-winning 3-run homer against UCLA in the 6th inning Thursday. And she's a 2-1 count. There are 2 players who transferred into Alabama this year. Big difference from Tech. Only 2, and you've already seen them both. Young from Iowa, Wells from Houston, and Brooke has thrived. A first-team All-SEC pick and a second-team All-American. Alabama 9th in the country with 100 home runs. That's a big, big number for them. Patrick Murphy's teams in recent years not have that kind of power. 28th year head coach looks on as well. Takes strike 3. Like a carbon copy of so many of those at-bats against Terry last night.
Just being able to paint the outside corner looks like a backdoor curveball, but she's so tricky because sometimes she can spin that pitch backdoor over the outside bar of the plate, and then sometimes she can spin it away from the right-handed hitters too. So on that side of the plate, she will throw a backdoor curve and a screw.
Starts Alexis Papillo, 0-1. Terry, an All-American, who will also bat today. She's the number 6 hitter. Papillo 1 hit at the World Series, a 2-run homer in an 0-2 hole, and Terry looks very sharp from the start.
When she's getting swings and misses like that, you know she's spinning it. We saw that last night against UCLA, who has the best, or had the best offense in the country this year.
Here's her 0-2. Yesterday, Caitlin Terry threw 79 pitches, 59 strikes. Interchanged with Nyjah Kennedy, particularly in the late innings. Jerry Glasgow made 5 pitching changes between Terry and Kennedy in the last 3 innings of the game. They are both in the lineup. He's available to do it again. Papillo waits back for a changeup. Down to second base in Williams. And a great start for the team who needs 2 wins tonight. Terry with a 1-2-3 first.
World Series is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
The Crimson and Gray of Alabama against the Scarlet and Black of Texas Tech. Here's the Red Raiders starting lineup, brought to you by Capital One, the third highest scoring team in the country, led by Mia Williams. Her 25th homer last night made her the 6th player in the history of Division I softball with a 25-homer, 20-steal season. Red Raiders averaging 9.5 runs a game on the year. They've scored 79 runs to lead all teams in the tournament, and Alabama has allowed just 5 to lead all teams in the tournament. Strength versus strength to the max, and Jocelyn Briskey has been the ultimate strength in the circle.
Yeah, because of the way that she has just commanded her pitches and pounded the strike zone. Texas Tech is going to see a lot of strikes tonight. High first pitch strike percentage for Briskey.
Wait to see how this matchup goes. Briskey and Williams. First pitch swinging, as you'd expect from Mia Williams, who hit the first pitch off the wall yesterday for one of her 3 hits, and she's got an early smile on her face. 71 from Briskey to the 2-time All-American Mia Williams, a transfer from Florida. And Williams lofts one deep to left field, down the line, foul ground, and out of play in the bullpen. Off-speed pitch that Williams very nearly timed up.
Well, I was just about to say, the last time that we saw a smile at the plate like Mia Williams just had was Jordan Woolery last night for UCLA going up against Kennedy. The pitch before she hit her home run, she did the exact same thing, and that was close.
And then the next pitch is strike 3. The only smiles on the Bama side is Briskey K's Williams.
Jocelyn Briskey is going to need to use her changeup, but what makes her so effective is the way she tunnels her rise ball and her drop ball. Against UCLA, she went more up with her rise ball. Against Nebraska, she went more down with her drop ball. She can pitch to different scouting reports. Both of those pitches are her strengths. Great vertical separation with her rise, drop, and then the change of speeds with her changeup has made her almost unhittable at times this season.
I'd imagine that last pitch shows you how well she tunnels, because that's only the 19th strikeout for Mia Williams this year in 68 starts. As Davis fouls one away, Mia Williams has more steals, more doubles, more homers than strikeouts, and still Briskey got her on 3 pitches. Now the senior Maya Davis trying to extend her career. Davis is the active leader in Division I in hits and steals. And with tonight, she takes over the lead for most games played among active players. Tonight is her 256th game played, breaking a tie with Florida's Kenley Cahalan and Jocelyn Erickson. Her first 2 years with Jerry Glasgow at Louisiana, and came with him to Lubbock.
And just speed on speed on speed, and the way that Davis has transformed herself into more of a power hitter, but can show her other tools too with her slap and drag bunt, one of the best base stealers that we've ever seen.
Briskey's 2-2. Yeah, strike 3 called. Back-to-back punch-outs against Mia and Maya.
Going downstairs with her drop ball this time to Maya Davis. Freezes her right at the knees, inside corner. You can see Briskey is just coming right at these hitters early. This is what she has done the entire World Series.
It was at Lauren Allred, who flips one out of play for a first pitch strike. First 2 innings this season. And this is Jocelyn Briskey's 28th start. A strikeout to walk ratio that feels impossible. 80-1. And she's ahead of Allred, 0-2. Got a little bit off the inside edge there. Yesterday, Allred 1 out of 2, but 2 walks, a sac fly, and 2 RBIs. So she stays in the 3 spot. A very good bat-to-ball hitter. In fact, Texas Tech has a team full of bat-to-ball hitters. Even with their huge power numbers, they really do not strike out much. Less than 3 offensive strikeouts per game on the season. And Brieske has 3 in the first inning. What a statement by the SEC Pitcher of the Year.
In a semifinal game, you want to make a statement like this. Brieske up with the rise and then down with the drop. Jocelyn Brieske, she has been on fire and she is staying on fire. She wants a taste of the finals.
To Oklahoma City as we enter the second inning, and if history is any indicator, we will more than likely see Nyjah Cannady enter the circle at some point for Texas Tech today. It's Caitlin Terry who got the start, but as we told you at the top of the broadcast, these two have gone back and forth throughout the entirety of the postseason. Leading up to this game, I caught up with head coach Jerry Glasgow and I asked him how he goes about making those changes. Is it analytics based? Is it mostly gut? He said, yeah, it's mostly gut, though I do have some numbers in front of me. Who's throwing better against lefties, righties, certain opposing hitters. And Nyjah and KT said are constantly waiting for that tap on the shoulder. They're also very involved in the conversation. At one point last night, he said he wanted to put KT in, and she said, no, UCLA knows me way better than they do Nyjah. Leave Nyjah in there. We will be better off. He said they are both equally fierce competitors, but they have become even better teammates to each other.
It's an amazing thing to watch, Alyssa. And Jay Glasgow said he really wanted to do it more early in the year, but the Super Regionals in Florida, where they faced a ton of adversity, gave up a ton of runs, was when he really decided to go fully into this. And we saw it last night. You just saw all of the pitching changes between Terry and Cannady. How difficult is it, Amanda, for Terry, for Cannady to be interchanged, moved in and out of the circle?
You know, they would tell you that they've done it this year and that it's no big thing, but I mean, I'm speaking for myself here. It would be really challenging to go in and out, get yourself game ready, and then get pulled, and then trying to keep up with where you're at in the lineup, what the umpire is doing at that time. I mean, it is very challenging, but these two have a lot of respect for each other, and we saw it last night after the win when Nyjah Cannady looked toward left field and Caitlin Terry came running in, and she gave her the biggest hug that you could give.
Fallout. Well, one to Marlee Giles. Look, you have experience of this. You were a pitcher, but a first baseman. You were a two-way player. Did you often have to do this kind of thing in college?
Yeah, you're used to just, you know, when your team is hitting, going down and running to the bullpen and staying warm or getting warm and just kind of keeping track of the game. So that, in a sense, is kind of similar to what they do. But at the same time, I don't think that in between them going in and out, oftentimes they're rewarming back up. Caitlin Terry might go to left field and Nyjah Cannady might even go to first base, and then they just might go back into the game quickly. But, you know, it's warm out here.
Giles ground ball to the left side, off the glove of a diving Taylor Pannell, and Marlee Giles stays hot at the World Series. Now 3 for 5 as she is the game's first base runner.
Got around that outside pitch, but is still able to hit it hard. You see her out and around, just perfectly placed off the glove of Pannell. in the top half of the ball, and that's a good approach against Terry, who's been more up in the zone with her rise ball. It tells you a lot about Alabama's approach that Marlee Giles just hit a ground ball right there, trying to get the top half of the ball and see it down.
Giles flip-flopped with this player, the freshman Anna Roman, who drops from 4 to 5. Roman is 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts, does have a sac bunt at the World Series, and there's her first hit. And Giles, the Alabama catcher, runs in the face of Davis to take third. Roman behind her to second. Patrick Murphy told us he had 11 green light girls, and he said how strange our catcher is one of them. The speedy Giles pushes the envelope to get 2 in scoring position.
And again, getting the top half of the ball there, Roman hits a line drive on a rise ball. You can see Alabama's adjustments already in play as Giles goes first to third, no hesitation. Good aggressiveness there as Alabama is able to get 2 on, but big adjustments that you're seeing from Alabama early, and we might already see a pitching change right here because of what Alabama's hitters have shown in this inning. The ground ball by Giles and then the line drive by Roman on a pitch up in the zone.
We sure are going to see Nyjah Kennedy for a historic 18th pitching appearance at the World Series. Let the circus begin. Kennedy to the circle when we return. A 6-foot senior from Topeka, Kansas. If you've been watching the World Series the last 4 years, you've seen Nyjah Kennedy, who has just broken a tie with UCLA legend Debbie Doom to become the first pitcher to throw 18 times at the Women's College World Series. There's her World Series career line, a 1.99 ERA. Her 18th appearance between 2 years of Stanford and 2 of Texas Tech, a strikeout to walk ratio of nearly 7-1. And she enters, Amanda, in a 2nd and 3rd none-out situation in an elimination game for Texas Tech.
Yeah, and 105 strikeouts just on this field alone. She has the experience, she has the fight, the competitiveness. However, she has been getting hit harder here toward the end of the year. And you may be wondering, well, why didn't Nyjah Kennedy start? Like, why are her and Terry flip-flopping? And it's because Texas Tech has been giving up some runs, and they've had to rely on both of them. Neither of them have been overly dominant.
She comes in to face left-handed Audrey Vandegrift. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. 73 miles per hour for a strike to start Vandegrift. Terry Glasgow could have left in Terry for a left-on-left spot. Brings in Nyjah instead. She has inherited 12 runners this season, and 0 have scored. If that stat holds, the 0, it's going to be a great escape and then some. Strike 2 on Vandegrift.
And you're going to see Nyjah Kennedy work the Nyjah Kennedy rise ball up in the zone. It's been that rise ball in the month of May that's been getting hit harder, and she's been prone to giving up more home runs than what we're used to seeing from her.
1-2 pitch.
And so she's been relying more on her side-to-side pitches with her screw that you just saw there. It fell a little bit off, and also her curve. And she will bring in a changeup too, coming in the high 50s.
There it is, and Vandegrift lifts it to center field. Plenty deep enough. Davis makes the catch. Giles will score, and a little bit of an offline throw means Roman is safe at third. So Audrey Vandegrift delivers a sacrifice fly. Roman down to third, and the Tide strike first on semifinal Monday. An RBI for Vandegrift, and a gutsy play by Roman running in the face of Davis, who does not have an outfield assist this year. So now runner at third, one out for the freshman Ambry Taylor.
Well, and other than the fact that Alabama was making adjustments quickly against Terry, I think you bring Nyjah Kennedy in this situation because she is a strikeout pitcher. I'm sure Coach Glasgow was looking for a strikeout and not the ball to be elevated to the outfield, right? Like, Nyjah Kennedy is known for her swing and miss prowess in the circle, and with those two runners in scoring position, she enters in. I'm sure he would have loved to see some swings and misses there and a strikeout, which we've seen her entire career. Just more contact off of her lately.
We've seen her strike out a batter 1,113 times. Among active players, only Belmont's Maya Johnson has more strikeouts. Nearly half of the outs recorded in Nyjah's career are Ks. This one popped out of play by the freshman Taylor.
And it still would be huge here. Every run that Alabama puts on the board with Jocelyn Brisky in the circle is like a mountain to climb, even for a great offense in Texas Tech. But Jocelyn Brisky has just been that good.
Taylor frozen by the changeup. Looked like Kennedy just lobbed it in there. And there's strikeout number 1,114.
And this is the height that she needs to keep this pitch at, right at the bottom of the zone, right at the knees, and freezes Taylor, a freshman, going up against Nyjah Kennedy for the first time, and she pops in that changeup for the all-important second out of the inning.
240 Ks on the year. Ball one to the 8-hitter, Salin Hawkins. Hawkins 0 for 3 of the World Series, hit by a pitch, a sac bunt, 281, 347 on base on the season. A shortstop with a very, very good glove, who has actually been hit by more pitches, 10, than she has drawn walks, 7. And freshman Roman at third on a 2-0 pitch.
Shane Jaruski there. It just floats in there compared to the high heat that she likes to throw up in the zone with her rise ball at 70.
You just drop a Shane Jaruski on us?
You know, it's something that is like always in my mind that I think, so I just went ahead and said it. You know, and just went for it.
All right. It's good to feel loose, right? That's what coaches would tell you. Don't be tense, just feel the looseness here with seasons on the line. 2-2 to Hawkins. Punched it out of play. Alabama in the World Series 6 for 17 with runners in scoring position. Crimson Tide had to come back in the first game. It looks like they breezed through this postseason, but they trailed UCLA 3-1 in the 5th. Got a 2-run homer from Alexis Papillo in the 5th, and a 3-run game winner from Brooke Wells in the 6th. Led wire to wire Saturday 5-1 against Jordy Fromm and Nebraska. Here's another 2-2. And Hawkins chases for strike 3. So Kennedy strands a runner at third. Alabama, though, gets the first run, charged to Terry.
Nyjah Kennedy is going to be fueled by swings and misses on her rise ball like this. It's the first time that Alabama has seen Kennedy, but that is what she wants to see from them and her relief appearance that she's already in. Jocelyn Brisky came into Alabama with a great rise ball, and she has developed a great drop ball, and they're two completely different releases. With a rise ball, you want to get your fingertips underneath the ball, and with a drop ball, you want to get your fingertips on top of the ball. So more thumb action with the rise, more finger action with the drop. So two completely different rises. They're very different, and that's why it's so difficult for pitchers to master both of those pitches. We saw them both in the first inning whenever she struck out the side. Rise ball to Mia Williams that got the chase, and then two drop balls to Davis and Allred, and a great start for Brisky with her two best pitches and not having to throw that changeup just yet.
Struck out all three Texas Tech hitters in the first inning. It's the third time that Brisky has struck out the side-in order in the first inning this year. And it's the first time anybody's done it to Texas Tech since April 23rd, 2022. 4 years since the Red Raiders went 3 up, 3 down, 3 Ks in the first. The pitcher who did that was Baylor's Aaliyah Binford at the World Series last year with Ole Miss. Strike to Jackie Liss. It's 1-1 to the Tech cleanup hitter. Liss has the most RBIs of any player in the NCAA tournament, 16 of them. She's got 75 on the season. Those 75 are 13th most in the country for the senior transfer from Southern Illinois. Liz, Taylor Panel, and then Caitlin Terry, 4, 5, 6 here. And a ground ball to the right side. The second baseman Young throws out Liz. Well, Jocelyn Brisky is coming off another one-hitter. Saturday against Nebraska allowed a Hannah Kamendsen home run. And the only two other base runners reached on errors. And this ball is smoked to left, and it's already a one-hitter. Taylor Panel has her 4th hit of this World Series as she attacks the first pitch from Brisky.
Texas Tech has been pretty aggressive against Brisky early in the count, and it looked like Panel was selling out for that inside pitch, a drop ball that stays a little bit elevated. She just slashed that 76 miles an hour off the bat, and Panel has now hit a couple of hard hit balls in her last 2 at bats going back to last night to the left side.
Caitlin Terry. Ball. So Terry taken out of the circle as a starting pitcher, but remains in the batting order. Texas Tech is utilizing the flex position. They have Logan Halleman in left, but not batting. And a ground ball through the left side, a base hit for Terry. So after a one-hitter in her last start, Brisky allows 2 hits in 3 pitches, and Texas Tech puts 2 on.
You can tell that Texas Tech is looking down in the zone. Panel hitting a drop ball, Terry hitting a drop ball. You're going to start seeing some pitch call changes, I believe, from Lance McMahon, the Alabama pitching coach, to go a little bit more to the rise and change.
In this tournament, Jocelyn Brisky has faced 14 batters with runners in scoring position, allowed no hits. And on the first opportunity of this game, she's 1-1 on the catcher, Jasmine Burns. Burns homered in the second inning yesterday. Her only hit of the World Series. 1-1 pitch. Fly ball to left from Burns. She got under it. And Vandegrift has out number 2. Make it 0 for 15 against Brisky with runners in scoring position in the tournament.
And that entire at bat to Burns was all rise balls. So Panel hit the drop, Terry hit the drop. All right, let's go to the rise. And this is the benefit of Jocelyn Brisky this year, having confidence in both of those pitches to be able to counter the attack against her.
Haley Toney. A low strike 1 to Toney. The number 8 hitter who was 2 for 5 yesterday. Her first at bats here at the World Series this year. 2 on, 2 out. Strike 2 from Brisky. An 0-2 pitch. Line to first and under the glove of Wells. Panels in to tie the game. Terry to third. Gets a stop sign late and dives back into the bag. The sophomore captain, Haley Toney, finally dents Brisky with runners in scoring position, and Texas Tech answers back.
Look at Toney go up to get this rise ball with 2 strikes. She hits it so hard to the left side, and Brooke Wells didn't look like she sees it because the runner in front of her, Terry, I think blocked her view of the ball coming off the bat, so she doesn't even have a chance to make a play on that. And Texas Tech able to tie up this game. 3 hard hits off of Brisky in this inning.
And Texas Tech is going to bring in Desiree Spearman as a pinch hitter in what would be the Nyjah Kennedy spot in the batting order, the number 9 spot. Remember, Jerry Glasgow has moved Kennedy into the circle. You have the designated player position, which is similar but not fully analogous to the DH spot in baseball, and the flex position for a defensive-only player. So Jerry's going to maneuver around some pieces here as Brisky allows her first hit in this NCAA tournament with a runner in scoring position. And now 2 in scoring position for Spearman.
In the first inning, Brisky was hitting 71, 72 miles an hour. She was amped up. Texas Tech was having to make quicker decisions at the plate when she struck out the side. I think because of that speed, these pitches were getting on them quickly. Now all of a sudden in the second inning, she's throwing 67, 68. Those few miles an hour makes a difference for these Texas Tech hitters.
2 strikes on Spearman, both at 68. Remember yesterday, Texas Tech answered back to score 2 out of 3 times after UCLA scored. They answer back immediately tonight. Ball. Spearman, an all-conference USA League Player of the Year with New Mexico State. Yet another star-studded transfer. Has seen her playing time wane in the postseason. She's been struggling a little bit. Also, it's just such a deep team. But a big opportunity for her here. And she lifts a fly ball to center field. Kristen White will make the catch. Both teams strand runners in scoring position, but both teams score. Panel and Terry and Toney. 3 hits off of Jocelyn Brisky in the second inning. A brand new game here. A game that Texas Tech must win to stay alive at the World Series. breathtaking years of Nyjah Kennedy, the National Freshman of the Year at Stanford in 2023, the USA Softball Player of the Year in 2024, then the famous transfer to Texas Tech where she defended her Pitcher of the Year title, her 4th trip to the World Series, 2 with Stanford, 2 with Texas Tech. Off the field, the first $1 million NIL contract in softball history, and the career ERA of 1.08, the best among any active Division I player. A pitching career that started very quietly February 11th, 2023, when Stanford played San Jose State in Irvine, and a 9-run first inning was a lot of run support, as her then Stanford Cardinal beat San Jose State 18-0. Nyjah started that game 2 2/3, faced 8 batters, retired them all, and struck out 5. And from there on out, one of the game's great stars was off to the races.
She said a few years ago that she knew early on she wanted to be on the biggest stage and that she wanted to be one of the best pitchers in the nation. So she had a goal. She has worked hard toward that goal and made a name for herself as a freshman at Stanford. The only reason that she's not a 4-time All-American her freshman year, she did not pitch enough innings. There's a certain requirement that goes down with NFCA, and she did not hit that requirement.
Kristen White flare to left field. That'll fall in for a hit. And the Tide have the leadoff hitter on out of the 9th spot as we go down to Alyssa Lang.
And I was chatting with Jerry Glasgow pregame, guys. I said, what do you remember about that day that you found out that Nyjah Kennedy was going to come to Lubbock? He said, well, she said she was going to take 2 days, think about it. That's what we agreed on. And then a few minutes later, she came back in. She said, Coach, I'm coming to play for you at Texas Tech. He said he immediately burst into tears thinking about what she would mean for this program.
First-year head coach at the time, Alyssa, and a program that obviously put a whole lot of money, investment, support into softball that had really never done so in the past. They went from being irrelevant nationally, no super regionals, to immediately maybe the most followed, talked about program in the sport the last 2 years. Jerry Glasgow said at the time, I thought I could identify with her because all 3 of my daughters, who were great college players, pitched and hit and played, and one of the big selling points was that Nyjah was going to be a 2-way player last year. Jenny Young fouls off an 0-2. She is still hitting this year, but not much. Only 43 at-bats a year after leading their team in home runs. But her getting to showcase those 2-way skills opened her up even a little bit more as a national star last year.
Nyjah Kennedy is so determined, has been so focused, so driven, continually trying to find different ways to get better. I mean, everybody knows that Nyjah Kennedy has had that rise ball for all 4 years. She went to Stanford with it and has just gotten swing and miss after swing and miss, but continues to develop her stuff to become an even better pitcher as a senior. And Lubbock is a softball town now. It was not like that before Jerry Glasgow got to Texas Tech and Nyjah Kennedy got to Texas Tech. Jerry Glasgow talked to us a couple of weeks ago about very few people being in the stands and not very many people coming to the games to watch Texas Tech softball, but that all changed with Nyjah Kennedy.
We heard him say it after yesterday's game, shouting out the Red Raider fans. He said, my first game at home last year, we had 150 people in the stands, and we have the equivalent of Bo Jackson and Herschel Walker in the circle. And now thousands of people are following us to Oklahoma City. Said a couple of days ago, we might be the villains of America, but we're the Cinderella of Lubbock, Texas. We're right there with Buddy Holly right now. A reference that most of these kids probably will not get. 8-pitch to Young. Strike 3. Kennedy looking good early.
And he made yet another comparison to me pregame. I asked him what it was like watching his team sign autographs and take pictures here in Oklahoma City with lines of Red Raiders fans. He said, I feel like I'm traveling with the Beatles everywhere I go.
As quotable as a coach as we have on this stage, Jerry Glasgow. And he's gotten a lot of great talent and developed it very well in his years at Lubbock after being the head coach at Louisiana for 7 years. Strike one to Brooke Wells, who was struck out looking by Caitlin Terry in the first. Wells held back, according to Susan Eads, the first base umpire. Terry's screaming from across the way.
Definitely should be a swing there.
Jerry has a point. It should be 0-2. Instead, 1-1 for the home run hitting Wells.
Jerry said yesterday, too, that he parked at Remington Park, which is kind of far away from the ballpark, but he wanted to park there to walk with his wife to the ballpark for the game, his wife, Vicky. And he said on the trek here, he was just mobbed for autographs and pictures on the way. But I love the fact that he just wanted to go back to the good old days and park with his wife in the other parking lot and walk with her to the ballpark on game day.
Well, if he thinks his team is the Beatles, unfortunately for him, he didn't realize he's Brian Epstein. 2-2. Wells chases strike three. Back-to-back Ks at the top of the card. And 4 strikeouts already for Kennedy in relief.
Yeah, getting these swings and misses and chases is important for Kennedy. When she's been leaving her pitches out over the heart of the plate, she's not been able to get as many swings and misses as what she's been able to get in years past. But Alabama is chasing off the plate and helping her and turning them into swings and misses.
That's another chase. Strike one on Alexis Pupillo, the 3-hitter. Six batters faced, 4 strikeouts for Nyjah Kennedy. White at first off a leadoff hit, and ball one on Pupillo. We have not seen the best of Nyjah Kennedy in this postseason, an ERA north of 5. We're seeing the best of her tonight. Ground ball by Pupillo. Williams with a flip. And after a leadoff single, 2 strikeouts for Kennedy. A shutdown third to keep the game tied.
Dance floor into a runway.
Stewart with a blast, way back and gone. Katie Stewart's bat continues to smoke.
Three home runs in the last 2 days for Katie Stewart. Texas needed a win too, and Texas won 2, sweeping the Tennessee Lady Vols in today's doubleheader to advance to their 3rd consecutive championship finals beginning Wednesday night, 8 Eastern, 7 local on ESPN. Alabama joins them with a win. Texas Tech needs 2. Mia Williams chopper to third, and Bree Taylor on the run gets the out. When you're the 2-0 team, you have a decision to make, and Patrick Murphy made the decision to go with his ace, Jocelyn Briskey, Amanda, trying to end this thing in one game.
Yeah, it is a decision that we talk about every year at the Women's College World Series, that the coaches of the 2-0 teams need to make. We saw Karen Weekly choose to start Aaron Newer over Carlin Pickens for Tennessee, and Texas came back to beat them 2 games. And Coach Murphy decided to give the ball to his ace in Jocelyn Brisky, going for the win right here and setting the tone with her in the circle.
Strike one to Maya Davis. Now Tennessee also scored just 2 runs. Mike White decided to save Tegan Kavan, who pitched yesterday. Went with Citlali Gutierrez in game 1. Gutierrez threw 6 2/3. Kavan had to come in with a winning run at the plate to get the final out, and she did before going the distance in game 2. Alabama last in the semifinals 5 years ago. They were 2-0 going into that semifinal and lost both games. Remember, that was a year where they only played 1 semifinal per day because of rain. But that year, Patrick Murphy made the decision to start Lexi Kilfoyle, his number 2 starter, game 1. Lost to Florida State. The next day, started his ace Montana Fouts, who got hit around. And the Seminoles came out of the losers bracket to make it to the champ finals. Ball 3 to Davis, a close one.
Can be a lot of different reasons for a head coach for why they choose to start a certain starter. Maybe it's matchup driven and you're not just going with your quote unquote ace on staff.
A dribbler from the very speedy Davis, but Brisky gets her with a little shovel pass for the out.
It's a great job of Brisky after releasing her pitch, going to get that ball and get the speed of Davis, and she knows that she has to be quick. Played well.
Great look from Susan Eads ump cam. 2 down for Lauren Allred. Now the other Alabama starter is a very, very good starter as well. Freshman Vic Moten, whom we have not seen at the World Series. Moten has a 1.66 ERA. 31 games, 21 starts, record of 21-4. Allred drives one the other way for a Texas Tech lead. The walk-off winner in last year's semifinals, Lauren Allred, puts Texas Tech on top for the first time in this year's edition.
Something Brisky has done so well is just nip the corners with her drop and her rise both, and she does not hit a corner here at all, and that's why Lauren Allred gets her best swing off on this mistake. Stays through it, stays behind it. Beautiful swing by Allred over that left field wall as a line drive that got out of here in a hurry.
Number 11 for Allred, followed up by a base hit for Jackie Liss. 2-out action from the Red Raider bats. They've got 5 hits already off the All-American.
After a couple of quick outs to start this inning, that is such a statement by Allred to go up and barrel up a ball, and it's a big reason that Coach McMahon is going to come out and talk to Jocelyn Brisky after back-to-back hits after 2 quick outs to the top of the order of Texas Tech.
Remember last year, Lauren Allred had the walk-off sacrifice fly to beat Oklahoma and send Texas Tech into its first ever championship finals early on, but she has the go-ahead hit right now. And the Allred family is going to get a World Series home run ball. One of the sweetest swinging players in the country. Another Louisiana transfer who came over with Jerry Glasgow. Ball. A home run from Allred, a single for Liz, and now Taylor Paddle. Now 4 for 10 career against Brisky, having faced her 9 times at Tennessee.
Texas Tech is just being so aggressive, and they have been since the first inning. Even though they struck out all 3 hitters that came up in the first. They've been really aggressive against Brieske, putting big swings on her pitches, and sometimes they don't have much to show for it, but the one consistent part of the Texas Tech offensive approach up to this point is that they are swinging hard. They are not holding back.
5 hits for the 3rd best offense in the country. Brieske with a changeup to Paddle. Those have been in rare supply here at the World Series. Hasn't needed too many of them. And that is a swing by Paddle for strike 3 to end the inning. Back-to-back innings. Texas Tech gets a run, and Lauren Allred puts them in front.
Her 2nd time here at the World Series with Texas Tech, and that swing had to have felt so good on this field. She is a leader for this Texas Tech field, or this Texas Tech team, and Lauren Allred hits her 11th of the season.
Women's College World Series presented by Capital One. Here with Alabama head coach Patrick Murphy. Coach, Jocelyn got hit a little bit in that last inning. How do you hope to see her bounce back?
Well, I don't think she made her pitch on the home run. It was supposed to be a little bit different, but she's been doing great all week. I have full faith in her and confidence. I think everybody on the team does. Now we need to shrink our strike zone against Nyjah, and it's very difficult, easier said than done. But when you expand it 6 to 12 inches on either side of the plate and high, she's going to win.
You saw Terry to start the game. Nyjah in the circle now. What is the challenge with rotating pitchers?
Well, you know, one's righty, one's lefty. The spin is completely opposite, obviously lefty-righty. You have to be on time, though. That's the biggest thing. When you're throwing 68 to 72, if somebody's on time, we'll hit her.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
And Nyjah Cannady has a bit of a longer windup. You notice when Terry was pitching, she was short and quick, and these two complement each other very well. Like Coach Murphy pointed out, one right-handed and one left-handed, but their deliveries are very different. Put a clock on it, and it's just a little bit longer from Nyjah Cannady than Caitlin Terry, who's just so quick twitch. They're different heights, their stride is different, the ball gets on top of you different, so the timing as a hitter can be tricky to go from pitcher to pitcher with the way that they throw. Completely different windups, different heights, different spins that they have, as Coach Murphy mentioned. So it's going to be a challenge for Alabama to know that Terry could come in at any time once they get to Nyjah, if they do.
Cannady pitching with a lead for the first time, and in her 2 innings of relief, she's looked like the Nyjah Cannady of old, striking out 4, allowing 1 hit and 1 of 2 inherited runners to score. Came into a second and third not-out situation and only gave up the 1. Marley Giles does what Patrick Murphy just said to Alyssa he's hoping his team won't do, expanding on what likely would have been ball 3. Giles, Roman, and Vandegrift, 4, 5, 6 in the Alabama lineup.
Yep,
that's off the knob of the bat for strike 2. I think actually that was called foul initially by the Texas Tech catcher, Jesse Burns. You heard Marty Abazishan say, yep, sure is. So Jazzy made the call, going Sandlot ball here. Call your own game. That's ball 3. Remember, Texas Tech needs to win this game and then win another. Alabama needs only 1 win out of a potential 2 to advance to the championship finals. Giles rocks this ball to left center field, and we are tied in Oklahoma City. All she does at the World Series is hit dingers. Back-to-back games, 4 in 3 years. Marlee Giles in home run heaven in Oklahoma once more.
And that's what you call an in-at-bat adjustment. Swung and missed at the rise ball, so Kennedy goes right back to it. And Giles is able to barrel it up. That rise ball wasn't as high as the one that she chased. A little bit further down, but Giles looking for it, knowing that Kennedy was going to likely come there again, gets her barreled to that pitch to tie up this game.
And just when it looked like Nyjah Kennedy was on a roll, she is in the dugout. Out of the circle, again, not out of the game. Jerry Glasgow will likely keep her in the order using that designated player spot. He's just storming around right now. Not sure exactly what he's looking for, but what he's found is a new pitcher as Caitlin Terry re-enters after facing the first 5 hitters.
A couple of lefties coming up in the order, Roman and Vandegrift. So I'm sure that Coach Glasgow likes this matchup, but he has just been so quick to switch pitchers once the opposing team is able to start finding some more barrels. Usually it feels like it's after 2 barrels. This time it's after 1 with the lefty on lefty matchup that's coming up for Terry.
How do you avoid this being tough for a pitcher's confidence, though, that you feel like you make one mistake, you will come out of the game, even if only temporarily?
It's a great point. I mean, you love to be in there, and especially after a big hit, you love to be the one that comes back to get the strikeout, to get the out. You want to stay out there, especially on this field. But I think because Nyjah Kennedy and Caitlin Terry have seen success with this switcheroo, they believe in it, and it doesn't affect their confidence as much as if it might if this is the first time that they ever did it.
Roman singled against Terry in the second and lines the ball foul off of her here. This is not, I mean, it's not a video game, right? This is real life. There's a human element to this too.
Absolutely, and there's also the fact too that Nyjah Kennedy is not used to pitching in this NCAA tournament or at the World Series and giving up so many runs. Terry and Kennedy have both given up a lot of home runs. There is a home run ball right there. Speaking of,
you gotta know this family by now, don't you? That's 4 home run balls in 3 years for the Giles gang. Look like some kid pictures they're holding up as well. Marlee Giles, 8 home runs on the year, a quarter of those at the World Series. Vandegrift gets her barrel well under that pitch from Terry for strike 1. Marlee is senior captain. Patrick Murphy has raved about her leadership. One of the few kids, he said, who's not worrying about hurting somebody's feelings. A bunt down to Terry, who has time for the second out.
I mean, that has been having the issue for Texas Tech's pitching staff, is just the amount of home runs that they've given up in the postseason. They weren't giving up this many home runs in the regular season, but both Terry and Kennedy are really having issues in the NCAA tournament, keeping the ball in the ballpark.
Ball. Home runs allowed in the tournament, to your point. Taylor Tinsley, who's thrown almost every pitch for UCLA, can understand her being the most. This ball to left center field is barreled up. The freshman Taylor drops one in the gap and retreats to first after her second World Series hit. Ambry Taylor, the freshman from Jasper, Alabama, missed softball in the state coming out of high school. Drops in a 2-out hit. Jerry Glasgow's wandering down around the dugout again. And he is going to have Tara Archibald, his daughter, who's also the pitching coach, go talk to Caitlin Terry. These teams are trying to make it to Wednesday night and the Women's College World Series Championship Finals, which begin Wednesday night, 8 Eastern, 7 Central on ESPN. Texas will be there, and the winner of either this game or this potential doubleheader will join them. For more information, go to ncaa.com, your home for all NCAA championships. Marley Giles has tied this game. Bama with a second inning run. Tech answers with runs in the second and third. The Tide strike back with a Giles long ball. A 2-2 game. Alabama needs one win today. Texas Tech needs to win to force a winner-take-all, if necessary, game tonight. Strike one into Salin Hawkins. Crimson Tide's 8th trip to the World Series semifinals. Looking for their 3rd finals appearance as that ball is dropped by Liss right near the camera well. There's a lot of traffic down there. You get video cameras and still photographers, and Jackie Liss couldn't come up with a ball that keeps the at-bat alive for Hawkins on 0-2. A little dribbler to third, and Panel will glove it. Oh, what a smart play by Panel. Brilliant move to throw through to second and get the overeager Ambry Taylor. Patrick Murphy wanted his team, though, to make an adjustment here in the 4th.
Now we need to shrink our strike zone against Nyjah, and it's very difficult, easier said than done. But when you expand it 6 to 12 inches on either side of the plate and high, she's going to win.
I'm not going to lie. Marley Giles expanded the strike zone early in the count, but she made an in-at-bat adjustment on the rise ball to get on top of it, send it out of here for her 8th home run of the season.
Back to Oklahoma City, where we have a tie ball game here with Texas Tech head coach Jerry Glasgow. Coach, your team just came up with a huge defensive play to end the inning. You came over here, you said, I'm having fun. What did you say to your team?
That fired me up. Like that's playing smart, playing intelligent, stuff you work on since August, September. And to see them do that in that moment in the World Series, that fire, we should get more momentum out of that than a home run. That should really fire our team up.
We talked pregame about the way you rotate KT and Nyjah. What is your gut telling you so far 4 innings in?
Well, I don't know. We'll talk when the game's over because sometimes it that can backfire. You talk too soon. Let's get the game over and then I'll tell you.
All fair. Congrats. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, Jerry After Dark would be quite the music show, wouldn't it? Here's the play he's hoping will fire his team up.
Yeah, Taylor Panel knew that she likely wasn't going to have a play at 1, but anticipating with how aggressive Alabama is on the base pass. Remember, 11 green light girls, as Coach Murphy calls it, so they're going to be looking for extra bases going first to third. So throws to second base, expecting the big round, and she got it.
Yesterday after the game, to begin Jerry Glasgow's 3-minute and 14-second opening statement in his press conference, he talked about how when he coached junior high ball, he'd have his team do something when something happened on the field that was exciting, which is one of the other players would automatically yell softball, and everybody would count to 3 and say, I love this game. And he said, all I thought when the game ended was softball, I love this game. That was a real softball moment right there. A 5-4-6 out to get Texas Tech out of the inning. They got 6, 7, and 8 to try to respond against Jocelyn Brisky, who's allowed 2 runs on 5 hits so far.
I just feel like there has not been a Texas Tech game that hasn't been dramatic. They did roll Mississippi State in the opening game, but you take out that game with regional action and super regional, and then here with extra inning games, it has just been a lot happening.
Down to short, that's caught by Hawkins. And Terry retired on an opposite field line drive. She's 1 for 2. Well, Brisky with a little help has retired all 4 leadoff batters. So here you go. Texas Tech has been great on the attack tonight. They've seen 3 pitches or fewer. They're 5 for 8. And at bats where they've seen 4 pitches or more, they're 0 for 7. Small sample size to you, or something that is indicative of the way this game could go?
I think it's indicative of the way that this game can go because of how Brisky likes to find the strike zone early in the count. High first pitch strike rate, much higher, 11% higher than what she threw last year. Just one of the many ways that she has shown improvement in the circle this year as a junior. So Texas Tech, knowing that they're going to get something early, and she's also thrown mistakes early in the count too there to find the zone.
All 5 hits on the first 3 pitches, and Brisky is in a 3-ball count for just the 2nd time in the game. And that'll prompt a visit from Giles to the circle.
She's not found herself in very many 3-ball counts this year. It's something that Coach Murphy wanted her to work on this year. Not as many walks, not going as deep into as many counts. She consistently has had a low pitch count because of it.
How about this coming into tonight? 6 pitches in 3-ball counts in 2 games. And that is her first walk of the World Series. Pitch that could have been called a strike. Ball 4 on Burns instead. And now Patrick Murphy, the head coach, will come out to talk to his starter. Well, Wednesday night, the NBA Finals tip-off in San Antonio. And we're going to party like it's 1999, a rematch of that finals as the Knicks are in the finals for the first time since the end of the 90s against the Spurs. Game 1 coverage starts at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, the NBA tip-off with the opening tip right after 8:30 on ABC. You can always stream the finals live on the ESPN app. Folks around here were hoping that the finals would be back in Oklahoma City this year, but the Spurs came into OKC to beat the Thunder in Game 7 a couple of nights ago. Well, we certainly haven't seen this. Jocelyn Briskey throw 5 straight balls. She hadn't thrown 4 straight at the World Series. And now she's thrown 6.
I feel like she's having trouble finding the release point of her drop ball in this game. In the first 2 games at the World Series, that drop ball was just money. She was on time with her release, with her rhythm, with that pitch, able to throw it at the most ideal height. And see, even with her rise ball now, she's just having trouble finding the strike zone. So her drop ball is a little bit more up in the zone, and Texas Tech has capitalized on some of those pitches. And when she tries to move it down, she's making too big of an adjustment and missing in the dirt.
What can cause you to lose that release point?
Sometimes it just is a feel thing, a rhythm thing. Maybe it's, you know, she feels a little bit more tired today because this is such a long week, so her legs feel different.
A high strike call right at the top of the zone to Tony, who had tossed her bat aside. But it's 3-2.
But it can also be the pressure of knowing what's at stake, trying to make your way to the finals, trying to pitch your way to the finals and be perfect.
3-2 to Tony, is blistered up the middle. Burns to second base, will hold right there. And Haley Tony has hit 2 rockets out of the 8th spot.
Well, and this is what I'm talking about with the drop ball, just not finding the perfect height for it and leaving it up in the zone. That pitch is barreled because it's right down the heart of the plate, and Tony on time with that drop ball, and Briskey just not being able to use her changeup as much. So Texas Tech is just getting on time with these pitches that are out over the heart of the plate.
Texas Tech is going to bring in Michaela Garcia as a runner now for Jazzy Burns, with runners at first and second and 1 out. And Nyjah Kennedy, who is currently out of the game as a pitcher, will bat for the first time. Desiree Spearman pinch hit for Kennedy immediately in the second. Nyjah started this game in the 9th spot. She's only 9 for 43, 6 walks, 1 homer on the year. And she will take ball 1 in the biggest at bat of her season. Now here comes Patrick Murphy again. He's going to talk to the plate umpire, Marty Abazishan. And he's going to make a pitching change. Vic Moten will get her first taste of the World Series in a 1-0 count with 2 on and 1 out.
It looks like in hindsight now, but I literally was just about to say it if Briskey was going to throw another pitch and there wouldn't have been a timeout, that I would think about getting Vic Moten into this game, to getting her a taste of the Women's College World Series. Briskey has been so dominant that we have not had the chance to see Vic Moten. She has been absolutely electric this year with an explosive rise ball and drop and great velocity. So Texas Tech is getting on Jocelyn Briskey. She's missing, so why not give Vic Moten a chance to enter into this game and get some World Series experience and see if she can shut down these Texas Tech hitters that have been on time.
A National Freshman of the Year finalist, Vic Moten from Daphne, Alabama, will come on to face Kennedy.
And she brings the heat down in the zone and up in the zone. Not going to throw much of a changeup, but it's 71 miles an hour with explosive jump up with that rise ball and a drop ball that complements it. She is very difficult to barrel up. She has had a lot of success as a freshman and been a great complement to Jocelyn Briskey. Coaches that have faced Vic Moten this year as a freshman, they just have a lot of compliments about her and say how tough she is to barrel up this year.
And Patrick Murphy knew very early on that this freshman was an arm he could trust, guys. He told us when we went to Georgia Tech, first series of the season, she got a start and at one point gave up back-to-back home runs. He said, I called timeout, walked to the circle, first time out of the season. He said, the huddle was the best huddle I have ever been in. Vic looked me in the eyes the entire time. Everyone was engaged, telling her to keep going. There was zero negativity. Vic said, yes, sir, and shut them out the rest of the way. So this is a freshman who mentally does not act like a freshman, according to Patrick Murphy.
The moment, Alyssa, he said, where she made us all believe in her. And Briskey will cheer her on now. She is eligible to re-enter as the starting pitcher, but it's Moten and Kennedy And Vic Moten's first pitch is low, and remember, Brisky exited after ball 1, so it is 2-0 to Nigeri Kennedy. Garcia and Tony, very good speed on the bases as Nyjah takes a high, strike 1.
Well, in this field feels so different to step into that circle on compared to any regular season game or postseason game that Vic Moten has pitched in up to this point. And look at who she's facing. A player with some of the most experience here at the Women's College World Series. Maybe not in the box, but she's very comfortable on this field. And Moten did a great job of finding the zone.
Fouled off hard by Kennedy. A muscular swing, and it remains 2-2 with 2 on in a 2-2 game. Moten, the 11th best ERA and WHIP. That's walks and hits per inning pitched in the nation this year. 5th in hits allowed per 7. Very tough to square up typically. Just a little low with her drop ball, and it's 3-2 on Kennedy with the powerful bats of Williams and Davis waiting in the wings. A 3-2 pitch. Struck her out swinging, and a Moten stomp as she retires Kennedy.
72 miles an hour. The pitch before was 73. Didn't get the call. Goes back to her drop ball. Gets the chase and the swing and miss, and just lets it out. First batter she faces at the World Series, first strikeout she gets, and the first stomp we see from Moten right back at Nyjah Kennedy, who we have seen that so many times.
We saw that as a freshman from Nyjah burst onto the scene 3 years ago, and we see it from Moten trying to make a heck of an entrance now on the World Series stage. And she screams after getting 2 swings and misses against Mia Williams. The temperature rising in OKC as Jerry Glasgow slows down the proceedings by taking a timeout.
And he's talking about her drop ball right now. You can see him having a conversation with Mia Williams. This is what her ball is going to do. This is what I want you to think about getting your barrel down to in order to make an adjustment on this drop ball that Moten is throwing. Now let's see if McMahon was watching and she goes with the rise. Goes right back to the drop, and a great placement for that. Against Mia Williams, 0-2 count. See if she'll chase that pitch with the runner in scoring position. Don't come too close, and see if she can have patience.
1-2 pitch. Just got a piece. An 0-for-2 start for Williams, who's reached base multiple times in 9 straight. 2 on, 2 out. 2-2 game. Taken down for ball 2.
She is really leaning on that drop ball. That is a pitch that she learned this year.
She learned it, and she's mastered it. Vic Moten, welcome to the World Series.
She has been sitting in that dugout waiting on her turn since Thursday. It is Monday, and she steps into a semifinal game with a runner in scoring position and gets 2 strikeouts, 1 to an All-American in Mia Williams.
could turn a dance floor into a runway. Monday through Sunday, I could turn a dance floor into a runway.
Big swings and electric emotion here in the semifinals on a Monday night. Alabama needs 1 win, Texas Tech needs 2. And we just had a capital M moment from Vic Moten entering in a 1-0 count with 2 on to strike out Nyjah Kennedy and Mia Williams and keep this game tied. 3 innings to decide whether the Tide will head to the finals or whether Texas Tech will force an if necessary game tonight. Kevin Brown, Amanda Scarborough up here in the booth at Devon Park. Alyssa Lang down below, our outstanding ESPN crew all over this complex. Victoria Valdez, the new catcher, as Caitlin Terry jumps ahead of Kristen White 0-2. It'll be White, then Jenna Young and Brooke Wells. Alabama's 9-1 and 2 hitters. 2 runs apiece, 6 hits apiece. Alabama's stranded 3. Texas Tech has left 5. Terry's 0-2. Right back to her. Snatched it and fired it for the out on White. The Red Raiders 59 and 8 on the season. They are only the 11th seed because of a very poor non-conference strength of schedule. Had trouble scheduling big teams in the non-conference. Cruised through the Big 12 at 21 and 3. And they're the 9th team since this super regional format began in 2005 to make it to the semifinals as an 11 seed or worse. 0-1 for Jenna Young. None of the first 6 teams with an 11 seed or worse made it to the champ finals from the semis, but the last 2 have. Texas, who was unseeded in 2022, and of course Texas Tech, who was a 12 seed last year. Fly ball right center from Young. Davis in front of the warning track makes the play. And Jenna Young, who had reached base all 7 times her first 2 games here, is 0 for 3. Here's Brooke Wells, who has struck out twice. An 0 for 8 super regional for Wells. She shook that off with a game-winning home run on Thursday night. 2 for 7 here at the World Series with a walk and a hit by pitch. A slow start in her first tournament after transferring in from Houston last year.
There's been so much action in this game. It kind of feels like the one calm moment that we're having after just a lot of drama and moments and base runners. Nice changeup there by Terry, a pitch we haven't seen much.
Oh, off the helmet of Wells. What were you saying about calm moments?
Yeah.
So Wells, who had a busted lip on Thursday when Marley Giles shouldered her in the face, gets drilled in the top of the helmet here. It's coming at Brooke from all angles. Hopefully she's okay. She'll come out for now for a pinch runner. And Kinley Pate will be that pinch runner. We've seen precious few stolen base attempts at the World Series this year. Pate is 7 for 7. Batter Alexis Papillo. 2 ground outs to second base.
Yeah, Lex Papillo had that, or a home run against UCLA in the opening round of the World Series, and she said, this is a moment that I've been waiting for since I was 8 years old. Big power hitter, but Carey goes right at her, get a couple of strikes.
That home run is her only hit. Third team All-American. 20 home run season. 5th most in Alabama history. In an 0-2 hole.
Ball.
A player that likes to watch a lot of film, knows everything about the opposing pitchers, gets in her own pitcher's ears asking, okay, what's this pitch that she's throwing, or what do you see here? Just wants to know as much information as she possibly can to be as prepared as she can be stepping in the box.
Ball.
Two and two from one All-American to another. Strike 3, and Terry finishes off a scoreless 5th. Big bats coming up for the Red Raiders. Maya Davis and Lauren Allred try to make it back to the champ finals. Jackie List, the Southern Illinois transfer, hoping to help lead them there in a 2-2 tie. If you're already feeling that college softball FOMO with the season ending this week, don't fear. The 2027 Shriners Children's Clearwater Invitational will return February 18th through the 21st. Will either of these two teams be there? We don't know. You'll have to find out and wait. Teams and ticket information coming soon at clearwaterinvitational.com. It'll be a star-studded field. Always a wonderful event. This World Series will end this week, but again, don't worry, because not only are we going to have Clearwater back next year, AUSL play starts in just 8 days. Right down the road here, Edmond, Oklahoma, Tuesday, June 9th, 1 week from tomorrow. Maya Davis gets under one to left center. Kristen White with an early vocal call. Saw Alabama have some trouble with outfield conversation yesterday, and no trouble between White and Vandegrift here.
You know, a lot of the teams that make the World Series play in that Clearwater Invitational tournament. Several that made it here this year. We got to see all the way back in February. You get a first-hand look at so many great teams. I love that tournament in February. Get to be by the beach and see great softball for 4 days.
One of those teams, Texas Tech, played in Clearwater this year. Here's a little dribbler, and Vic Moten fields her position to get Lauren Allred. So Vic Moten into the game, replacing Jocelyn Brisky. with a 2-on-1 out situation in the fourth has retired the first 4 Red Raiders she's faced. A bold move here by Patrick Murphy, who knows if his team loses this game, they'll have to play the if necessary game. And now all 4 pitchers that we figured could feature today have pitched for both sides. Terry and Kennedy for Texas Tech, Brisky and Moten for Alabama.
Ball.
1-1 on Jackie Liss.
Crazy to see how much that Vic Moten is throwing this drop ball in her first World Series appearance, because like we said before, that was a pitch that she did not come to Alabama with. She was primarily rise balls, 72 up in the zone. And she said it was a pitch that they really worked on in the fall, that she would just throw the drop ball that she had recently learned and kind of treat it like it was a fastball. And she said at practice she would give up 4 home runs a day, thinking it's not working, having meltdowns, all of that. And then they played their first games in the spring and they were swinging and missing at that pitch, and it gave her confidence to throw it. And you can see she is continuing to go to that pitch, over the top rotation. Worked hard on that pitch and had success with it all the way back in February, and it's carrying through to the World Series.
3-1 to the very patient and powerful Liss. Missed up, no swing. It's ball 4. And a 2-out walk for Tech.
And Jackie Liss just showed the team what's possible when hitting off a Moten and you don't chase. I think that that was an important at bat for Texas Tech hitters to see, that Moten wants these hitters to chase her drop and rise up out of the zone. Liss is very patient, and Moten could not find the strike zone.
Taylor Panel 1 for 2. She doesn't chase, ball 1. Nyjah Kennedy has just returned from the Texas Tech bullpen. Marlee Giles, who homered off of her, will lead off the 6th. And Giles wanted that pitch call. Marty Abizishan says it's down, and it's 2-0.
She's not throwing as hard this inning as when she came in relief with the runner in scoring position, getting her first taste of this field. And Coach Lance McMahon, who helped her learn that drop ball in the fall, is going to go out and talk to her to calm her down. But she was hitting 73, 72 when she came in relief last inning. Now just staying right about 70.
This is similar to what you said about Brisky and her velocity drop. Adrenaline, heat, pressure.
Yeah, I think all of the above.
Combination maybe?
Yeah, combination. I think adrenaline is huge on this field. When you're throwing in your first inning, you're feeling this crowd. You want to set the tone. You want to go hard, be aggressive, and set the tone for your mindset and for your body and for your team.
A big crowd and a big stage for Vic Moten to try to navigate. And also a big lineup. Elevates that one to Panel. Deep to left field at the wall and gone! Vandegrift had it! Audrey Vandegrift was right there. But a disappearing act of a 2-run homer by Taylor Panel, and Texas Tech leads 4-2.
That pitch is middle. Challenged her out over the heart of the plate, and Panel says, thank you. I thought Vandegrift had it. Didn't even look like she jumped that high. It only looked like she jumped at about 50% and hits off of her glove. So close. Moten thought that she had it. How did she not have it? I thought that she had it up here. Looked like she was just posted underneath it, tracked it down, and that's going to be a home run for Panel instead of the 3rd out of the inning.
For 2 on a 2-out, 2-run homer.
Ball inside.
Often late in games, Patrick Murphy will bring in an experienced left fielder, Lauren Johnson, to play for Vandegrift. Vandegrift is batting in the top of the 6th inning. So he likely didn't want to take her out now and re-enter her, because then he would lose the option to have that defensive sub late in the game. He leaves her in, and the home run ball traces right past her glove at Texas Tech, and a must-win game for the Red Raiders. Has its first 2-run lead. 2 strikes on Terry now.
And think about how important that walk was by Jackie Liss. We talked about her patience. She has a very good eye at the plate, came up against Moten with a different approach to make Moten find the strike zone. So after the walk to Liss, Taylor Panel took the first 2 pitches, did not chase, and then made Moten come closer to the zone.
Texas Tech tonight with 4 2-out runs. They had been just 4 for 25 with 2 outs in the first 3 games of the World Series. 4 for 8 with all 4 runs tonight. A strikeout ends the inning, but a home run gives Texas Tech the lead with 6 outs to go.
And Panel is getting hot, hot, hot. Taylor Panel gets almost all of this one. Looked like Vandegrift was going to rob it. It hits off of her glove, and what a momentum swing in this inning in the favor of Texas Tech.
Texas Tech in a must-win game. Taylor Panel just gave them the lead with a 2-run home run. If Texas Tech hangs on to win this game, we will play another one, and we will get you to that if necessary game if we need it. But wow, the swing, and I mean, so close at the fence.
I thought Audrey Vandegrift was right underneath it. Completely agree with Kevin and Amanda. I thought she was camped right underneath that ball, and we talked about it. Defense was going to be an X factor, and that's not a play that goes down as an error in the scorebook, but I guarantee Audrey Vandegrift wishes she had that one back.
Yeah, jump. That's all I'm going to say. But I feel like with Marley Giles coming up, this is big, right? She's kind of been that spark for them, so look for her to try to get something going here in the 6th.
All right, Kevin, Bama's going to try to rally. They are 0-22 at the World Series when trailing after the 5th inning. Can they change that?
A rather ominous stat for the Crimson Tide fans, Courtney. A 4-2 Texas Tech lead, and it is Marley Giles, a home run hitter from earlier. Leading off against Caitlin Terry. 1 pitch for Terry, 1 out. Texas Tech is 5 outs away from making this an awfully long night here in Oklahoma. Remember, they need to win to force that if necessary game. As you heard Courtney say, Alabama just needs 1 win today. This is the 32nd year of this semifinal format at the World Series. And only 4 times of the first 31 we saw both semifinals go to an if necessary game. It happened earlier today when Texas pushed Tennessee to an extra game and won it. And Texas Tech is trying to do the same. Only 10 of the first 62 teams now, with Texas 11 of 63 that needed to win twice in the semis have done so to make it to the championship finals. 11 of 63. But Texas Tech is in the driver's seat to get halfway there. Right now they've got Caitlin Terry in the circle. She got the first 3 outs of this game, allowed 2 hits in the second. Najri Kennedy came in for 2 and allowed a homer. And Terry has thrown 2 1/3 scoreless from there. And a Roman rolls one through the right side for an Alabama base hit. The freshman with her first 2 hits at the World Series tonight. And now a chance at redemption for Audrey Vandegrift. We're not saying that's a can of corn. You're up against the wall at the World Series. Not a routine play, but certainly a play that it looked like she was about to make. And as you heard Danielle Laurie astutely say, jump.
It's like a baby jump out there. I think she just thought she didn't need to, you know, just misread it, hits off of her glove. I'm sure she's thinking about it right now, wanting a chance to get her team back into this game in terms of scoring those 2 runs back. And she can do it. When she moved back down to the 6th hole, Vandegrift has been showing some extra pop. She started out as the leadoff hitter, they moved her down to the 6th hole, and she's been hitting for a higher slug.
Tara Archibald came out for a talk with Terry. Larissa Pruitt, senior who's often a defensive sub, comes in to get a little extra speed on the base paths for Roman. Vandegrift a sac fly and a bunt out today. And their best hitter in the tournament, 10 for 20, 2 homers, 6 RBIs. And she takes strike 1 right around the edge. Chases strike 2. Terry looking for Tech's 7th strikeout.
This lefty on lefty matchup with Terry's curveball that she got Vandegrift to chase is just so tough. That pitch is deceptive. It seems like she hides her release a little bit to these lefties.
And strike 3 freezes her. That Terry deception will tack on another strikeout.
Well, Vandegrift's likely thinking that she's going to go back out. Instead, she goes back door. Same pitch, curveball, different side of the plate. Freezes Vandegrift. Worked from ahead in that count, got the chase, and then got the freeze for the 2nd out.
2 out, and the tying run, the freshman Ambry Taylor. 2 for 8, 4 strikeouts here at the World Series. Singled against Terry her last time. And of course, you have Nyjah Kennedy looming to potentially close the game at some point. But once again, Terry has thrown brilliantly. 5 innings yesterday of 2-run ball in relief, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. Well, 2-0 for Taylor here. 3 2/3 for Terry today. 1 run, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Supreme command for the 2-way transfer from UCLA. But a 2-0 count here. And Taylor rips one to short. It's caught on a line by Tony. Texas Tech is 1 inning away from forcing an if necessary game, and they'll try to get a little extra offense.
The NCAA Women's College World Series is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
That's swing the difference right now. Taylor Panels, 2-run home run in the 5th. And Texas Tech needing to win to force it if necessary game leads Alabama into the bottom of the 6th inning. We've already seen one team from the Lone Star State force and then win at if necessary game tonight in Texas. The Red Raiders trying to do the same.
Yeah, and it's all about momentum on this semifinal day and who has it. And Brisky, you know, had a tough start for Alabama in the circle, but I love the way that Moten has come in. It was that one defensive play by Vandegrift that is the difference in this game. And on the other side, with the way that Caitlin Terry is spinning pitches in the circle and just fighting more of what we saw last night against UCLA when she had the 7 strikeouts.
Jasmine Burns re-enters and flies out to the new left fielder, Lauren Johnson, for out number 1. Well, momentum is a funny and fickle thing, of course, but if Texas Tech wins this game, they'll have done so having seen and hit to a degree both Brisky and Moten. And they've really taken away an Alabama advantage. You figured, well, if Alabama loses this game, maybe they'll at least have a fresh surprise arm for game 2. That's not going to be the case anymore. Moten 31 pitches. Now, she and Brisky certainly could both pitch in game 2, but Nyesha Kennedy has not thrown a ton today, and the pitching advantage that Alabama has to feel a little neutralized here by the way Texas Tech swung it against Moten and Brisky.
Well, the one thing that I think about is that Brisky herself can think about is know that she didn't pitch her best in this game. And we're not done yet. There's still some time left in this game. But with what we saw from Brisky today compared to her other 2 complete games that she's thrown at the World Series, she just didn't have her best stuff in this start. But that does not mean that she won't have it if she gets a start and if we need the if necessary game.
Haley Toney with some big swings in the game, 2 for 2, including an RBI double. I was in an 0-2 count with 2 outs against Brisky in the 2nd. It's the first hit Brisky has allowed in the NCAA tournament with a runner in scoring position, and it came from the 8-hitter Toney. And grounds one foul off at Giles here.
Take your time. I'm good. I got you.
Marty Abizishin will give Marley Giles a little extra time and brush off the plate. Alabama has 8, 9, and 1 due up in the 7th. Hawkins, White, and Young are the due-ups. They do have a couple of pinch hit options as well. Anybody gets on, you'd see Brooke Wells likely re-enter the game. She's out right now for the defensive replacement, Abby Dukeshire. And it's up to Moten to try to keep the deficit at 2.
And I think these final innings, or inning and a half, is important for Alabama because right now, I mean, we talked about momentum, and yeah, if Texas Tech holds on to this lead and wins the game, you could call that momentum. But for Alabama, I don't feel like it's overwhelming momentum going into that 2nd game.
Down to first and Dukeshire out number 2.
And so that can help too. Like when Texas and Tennessee were playing, I felt like Texas really grabbed the momentum against Tennessee, and that was a tougher fight for Tennessee to have in that if necessary game. But I feel like both teams are pretty equal in this game. You take away the Taylor Panel swing off of Vandegrift's glove, and we still have a tie game here.
Well, strike 1 to Kennedy, who is certainly an interesting figure, even though we haven't much heard from her over the last few innings, because you never know when Jerry Glasgow might bring her back to pitch. He may ride the hot hand of Caitlin Terry, who's only thrown 57 pitches in 4 innings. Nyesha 41 pitches in 2 innings. And Kennedy muscles one foul for strike 2. Texas Tech is obviously coming off a game yesterday, a 9-inning emotional win last night, so they played more recently, and you could add those pitches up from Terry and Kennedy and tell you the Bama arms are fresher. Strike 3 called to Kennedy, And that will send this game to the top of the 7th. Tech trying to win to force one more game. The Tide in search of 2. An Alabama comeback, and the Crimson Tide will be off to the championship finals for the first time in 12 years. If not, Texas Tech would force a 4th game today. Texas forced and won an if necessary game against Tennessee. And that's what the Red Raiders, who were the national runners-up last year, are trying to do against the top-seeded Tide. A pinch hitter in the 8th spot, Monty Hubbard, will face Caitlin Terry to start the 7th. Only one time this year has Alabama come back to win when trailing into the 7th. At 56-7, they obviously haven't trailed into the 7th often. Hubbard couldn't hold up on strike 1. The only time they did it with that 1-7 record, April 18th. That was against a Kentucky team who went 1-23 in the SEC. 1-1 to Hubbard. They're trying to do it here against a Tech team that went 21-3 in the Big 12, has gone 59-8 overall, and has Caitlin Terry, who's been absolutely fearless over the last couple of days in the World Series circle. Hubbard stays alive on 1-2.
Well, remember, we saw some pinch hit magic last night when Texas Tech was playing UCLA in this exact spot in the order. 8, 9, and 1 were due up, and Elianoi Perez made some moves and had some success with the pinch hitters in that 7th inning.
Alabama has never won a World Series game it trailed going into the 7th. 0-23. Hubbard, another one fouled away. Kristen White, who is not a power threat at all, but a slapper who gets on base a lot, will follow her. And then the top of the order. Then Jenna Young. 5 for 8 at this World Series, 2 walks. Then Brooke Wells, who had a slow couple of weekends but did have the game-winning home run Thursday. First Hubbard. That ball hits something. It pops up and it's deflected by Terry, and it'll be called a foul ball. Couple of questions here. Did it hit the knob of the bat? And did it hit the batter? Did Terry try to grab it in fair territory? But it's been ruled foul. And it was clearly touch foul. So good job by the plate umpire, Marty Abazishan. And here's the view from Susan Eads' hat. Another 1-2. Just misses. Jasmine Burns back in the game at catcher, tried to frame it. A 2-2 for Hubbard off the bench. Line to right field, and Lauren Allred, and there's one. Remember, it was just a couple of weeks ago. Texas Tech was down 8-0 with 1 out to go. Day 2 of regionals against Ole Miss. They would have fallen into the losers bracket. White down to short. Tony throws it away. And White is aboard. That will bring the tying run to the plate as the sophomore Tony airmailed the throw.
And not much that she could do. She knew she had to be quick. It was a great pick, and Kristen White does a great job of just putting the ball on the ground and causing some havoc. Haley Tony's glove is so good, but a quick transfer, probably not a great grip, and rushed her throw. And now you got speed at 1.
It'll be a base hit, an infield hit for White, who has 2 hits tonight. That brings Jenny Young to the plate, representing the tying run. 6 homers on the year for Young, 2 of them in the tournament. They were both in the regional final against USC Upstate. Strike 1. Tech team that has had to fight through an elimination game already in super regionals, that crazy regional comeback, fighting for their season tonight. Strike 2 to Young. They have shut down Alabama's leadoff maestro. Terry trying to get her again. And Young fouls it off of Burns, who couldn't grab it. One on, one out. Young the tying run. Texas Tech must win to force another game. Alabama to the champ finals with a victory. 0-2. Deep drive to right field. Jenna Young has tied it in the 7th. How good is this game? One magic moment after another this week in Oklahoma. Down to their final 2 outs, Jenna Young delivers. And the top-seeded Tide square the score at 4.
I don't love the pitch call. She was going on the outer half, and Jenny Young wanted nothing to do with it. So she goes to a backdoor curveball, and it's right into the swing path of Jenny Young. Looking to hit with 2 strikes, just stays on it. Jenny Young has had such an amazing Women's College World Series. She was 0 for 3 before that, could have been down, but wanted to do it for her team. Just got out of here in a hurry. That pitch was way too close for a pitcher's count pitch, and Terry can't believe it. So many big swings have been given up by Texas Tech in the late innings. Just has to be crushing for Terry and their team and what it feels like, and the complete opposite for Alabama with Jenny Young and that 2-run home run.
Back in Winterset, Iowa. They are probably running into the streets and jumping for joy. And Jenny Young has not only tied this game, she has knocked out Caitlin Terry again. Nigel Kennedy enters for a second time. Remember, she has stayed in the lineup and hit. She'll come into pitch after the swing of a lifetime for the former Iowa Gatorade Softball Player of the Year, who tore her ACL her final year going into college, played a couple of years as a Hawkeye, and now Crimson through and through. Can you get better drama than the Women's College World Series? Now, if you're Texas Tech, you go, all right, we dealt with this yesterday. Jordan Woolery tying 2-run homer in the 7th. And they shrugged that off and won the game. Can they do the same tonight with their season on the line? Kennedy and Brooke Wells. Strike one. And of course, Texas Tech is the home team. Will now get the final at-bats. Mia Williams is going to lead off the bottom of the 7th, but we're still a ways away from there. Off the end of the bat from Wells, and the aforementioned Williams will give way to Liz. 2 down, 7th inning. What hasn't he seen at this point?
Oh my gosh. He's just got to feel like he has some additional gray hairs, or maybe his first, I don't know. But there's been a lot of stressful games for Texas Tech and their fans and their coaches. And Jerry Glasgow even said the other night after their loss, he was up all night thinking about that loss. Not getting a lot of sleep here with these tight games.
All of a sudden, the guy in front of him looks a lot more relaxed. Strike 2, though, on Papillo. It'll be Williams, Davis, and Allred in the bottom of the 7th. A half inning that will now exist. Outside ball 1. Alabama fighting to end this semifinal round in this game. Texas Tech fighting to extend it to a winner-take-all game. High and heightened drama again in OKC as Papillo pops a 1-2 out of play. That says it all, doesn't it? If you're a neutral, you're probably having fun. If not, this is capital S stomach churning stuff right here.
Stress City.
2, 3, 4. Thanks.
Marty Abizzian slows down the proceedings. Needs a few new softballs. Alabama, the #1 seed, has never won a World Series game. It trailed going into the 7th inning. Good take by Papillo as Kennedy threw that changeup. It was an Iowa kid in Jenna Young who gave Alabama the lead. Northern Iowa transfer in Papillo keeps this at-bat alive on a fly ball out of play. Where you look here if you're Papillo?
Outer half, might go to that change again, or to the screw. I mean, I feel like that outer half is where many of these pitchers are trying to work Papillo, and she's been chasing that pitch. Kennedy had thrown her a changeup early in the count that she just held back on. Papillo just having this long quality at bat here.
Nyjah does not go inside very often to lefties. Staying away from the powerful Papillo. And somehow Papillo is able to pillow that ball out of play.
And look how fired up her teammates are. Picked this up basically when it was in Quiroga's glove. Spoiled what she thought might be a called strike.
That is a new catcher to your point, Lagi Quiroga. 10th pitch. Some pretty screwy spin there, and it's an infield hit. What a battle. Papillo with maybe the softest hit ball of the day. A feathery touch to put the go-ahead run on.
Went back to the changeup, and Papillo motors down the line, clearly gets there safe, and it was a changeup hit off the end of the bat, crazy spin to it. Tony took her time making that play, and Papillo with a great hustle.
Now Marlee Giles, who homered off of Nyjah Kennedy just 3 innings ago. Giles has led the way for Alabama, along with Young at the World Series. They've each homered tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It was a rise ball that Giles got in that home run. Chased it early in the count and then went deep into the count against Kennedy and hit that rise ball out of the park.
After Papillo's 2nd infield single of the year, Giles a chance to be the hero. A changeup in there for a strike. Two senior captains face to face, one of whom will play for the title, and one of whom is going to have to hang up their cleats, at least at the collegiate level, here at Devon Park. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Giles with that star-spangled bat, ready for Kennedy's 2-2. It's down to 3rd, a low pick by Panel, and we go to the bottom of the 7th. Alabama comes back to tie it on a big swing from Jenna Young.
Jenna Young is a game changer. This swing on this stage in this moment, transferring from Iowa to be in this moment, wearing that Alabama uniform. What a swing by Young to tie it all up.
When my hat's hung up and my boots ain't on, thoughts in my head have a mind of their own.
Game, it is the All-American Mia Williams, thrust once more into the spotlight. One of the best power hitters in softball did this just a day ago.
She really owns that outer half, and she has her whole career at Florida and then here at Texas Tech. So much power on that outer half of the plate. Such an athletic player. You have to face her the most as she is the leadoff hitter for this Texas Tech team, and she has a ton of pop in that bat.
A game that is only in the bottom of the 7th because Kristen White reached an infield single and Jenna Young popped an 0-2 two-run home run. And doesn't that sound familiar for Texas Tech fans? Game-tying two-run home run to right on an 0-2 pitch in the top of the 7th in the World Series semis. Last year it was Oklahoma's Abby Dayton, and the script was a little different. Last year it was Texas Tech just needing 1 win, Alabama needing 2 to force the if necessary game. But in that game, Tech responded with a 7th inning run. It was a run scored by Maya Davis on a Lauren Allred sac fly, and Davis and Allred are the next 2 batters unless Williams can end it here. 1-1 for the freshman Vic Moten. Down and into Mia. It's 2-1.
Alabama has had a lot of success against Mia Williams in this game. Couple of strikeouts, 1 on the rise, big time chase in her first at bat, and then 1 on the drop and a ground ball to third base.
Williams to left field. See you in a half hour. Mia Williams wins it for Tech. The resilient Red Raiders have done it again. They forced the if necessary game, and Mia is already with Alyssa Lang.
Mia, walk me through your mindset as you stepped into the box just now.
Yeah, I'm 0 for 3. You know, I'm just trying to get on base for my team right there in the bottom of the 7th inning. Whatever it takes, I just had a talk with Coach Glasgow. He said this is the moment I've been working for all year. So, yeah.
What was the conversation like with you and your team coming into this first game knowing you had to win this one?
Yeah, 100%. Just playing for each other. Everything we do for the family, that's our saying.
As you watch Nyjah and KT trade back and forth, KT the majority of the work today, what'd you see from her?
Yeah, they're dogs, especially KT, especially Nyjah. Just playing behind them just makes me so energetic and want to give my all for them.
You're one of the leaders of this team. Now you got about 30 minutes and then you kind of come back and play another one. What do those 30 minutes look like?
Yeah, definitely talking about carrying the momentum that we have right now into the next game and just being dominant.
Congrats, Mia.
Thank you. Welcome.
The first walk-off home run in the career of any of these Texas Tech players. It's Mia Williams to keep her team's season alive. Answering Jenna Young's home run in the top of the 7th with the final blow to send this semifinals to a winner-take-all game. It's our Capital One rewarding performance.
And when a player like Mia Williams is 0 for 3 in the game, you know it is just a matter of time before she gets a hold of one. So much power in her batter, 26 home run. It was a no-doubter mistake out over the heart of the plate. Mia Williams wanted to end this game. 75 miles an hour off of her bat, went 234 feet. And Mia Williams says, let's go, let's play that if necessary game. She is such a good hitter, and my goodness, the dramatics of this Texas Tech team here at the World Series. They have been walked off on at the World Series this year, and now they get the walk-off hit.
Just the 5th time in World Series history, both semifinals go to a second game. Texas won 2 today. Texas Tech is trying to do the same to send us to a champ finals rematch. And now the Crimson Tide will have to respond to their first loss of the NCAA tournament. What a game, what a sport, what a tournament, and we're not done yet. Coming up after the break, we'll get you to Courtney, Madison, and Danielle in the studio with one more game to come.